So are you ready for your change where you can see with magic eyes? So my talk today is a book I read, Forgive and Forget by Louis Means. As you can tell, it's a very old book and it's pretty well been used and abused. So I found it very enlightening, this book, so I decided to talk about this. So I want to start you out with a little fable. There was this baker and his wife, and the baker was this very self-righteous man, believed strictly in the Bible and self-righteousness. And his wife was a little left by herself a lot because he was always preaching being self-righteous, but he was forgetting to love her, to be there for her, to be in this committed relationship of connection. So she started feeling that she needed this love. So one day the baker came home after making the morning bread and walked in, and his wife was underneath a man. So he was so upset and just was so angry about what he had seen, because he was this righteous man who wanted his life to be perfect to his congregants, the church that he went to. So everybody thought that, okay, he's going to leave her. But no, he was committed to her and he was going to stay with her no matter what. So in his decision to stay with her, he never forgave her. He just continued to build this anger toward her. He saw with the eyes of condemnation. He judged her every day. Every day. So, in so doing this, an angel came to him and said, I'm going to place a pebble in your heart every time you feel anger towards your wife. So the years went by and he put a pebble in this man's heart, and year after year the man started bending over from the pressure of his heart being so heavy. He could barely look up anymore. His heart was being pulled down. And finally he asked, what can I do? I'm in such pain. My heart's so broken and I'm so filled with this heaviness. And the angel said, if you see her with different eyes, if you see her with the eyes, the magic eyes of seeing the person she is and not the act that she did. If you see her as a person that was needing love and reaching out and just wanted to be touched, just wanted to be seen. If you see her from the magic eyes of God, not the decision she made and the behavior that came from that. And the angel said it will be a process. And each time you change the way you see, and you see through magic eyes, I will remove one of the stones. So little by little he'd catch himself. And he would think, okay, I'm going to see her through magic eyes. And this long process over years that he did. But each time he did it, one of the pebbles was removed. And finally the man was able to stand up straight. And him and his wife were able to start this Act 2 of their relationship. Act 1 was forgiven. He was changed. She was changed. And now Act 2 began. And that's what forgiveness is all about. Forgiveness, there are 4 stages that Lewis talks about in his book. The first stage is we hurt. The second stage is we hate. The third stage is we heal. And the fourth stage is we come back together. So we're going to go over these today. I'm getting my little thing to work here. Amber, can you hit it for me? Thank you. So first of all, we have different types of pain. We want to understand what pain really is. Pain is personal. When you are hurt, it is personal. What one person may feel when they are hurt may be totally, completely opposite of how another person may feel when they are hurt. When someone lets them down, or when someone mistreats them in any way. It is personal. Now, you can't forgive nature, can you? Say a hurricane comes through, tornado, whatever comes through, and we have all these people that we love that maybe perish. We can't forgive nature. There's not a presence of somebody to forgive. So forgiveness is between two people. It's very, very personal. We don't forgive outside of it being the person. Okay? A lot of times our personal pains are denied. We push them down because we don't want to feel them. Or we deny that we're even feeling them at all. We deny that we're being hurt. So they're pushed away down within our being. And what happens to our being? It becomes congested, right? We start feeling dis-ease and uncomfortableness because we're denying it. We're not allowing it to flow through us and out from us. So another form of pain, okay, you might have to do, did I do that or did you?
I did.
Okay, well maybe this isn't working. So I'll just let you know. So another kind of pain is when we feel pain is unfair. Have you ever felt that I don't deserve this? How dare you do this to me?
Thank you.
Yeah. We've all been there, haven't we? Why did they hurt me? I don't deserve this. Not all pain is deserving. If someone is hurting you, they are coming from their own place of pain, right? Pain is generating from them. But we still may feel that it's unfair to us, that we do not deserve it. Another kind of pain is compulsive pain, where it is out of your control. Say someone is drunk, and they're creating pain from a place of drunkenness, or they're high on drugs and they're hurting you. They're doing that out of not an acknowledgement of their hurting you. They're doing it from a different energy that is negative for that person. Spillovers. What happens when someone else's pain, just like I said, is spilling over, is spilling out of them. So it's affecting everybody around them. A lot of people do that. I've done it too for years. My own pain would spill out all over the place. What about people who have good intentions? They don't really mean to hurt you, but somehow they did. Their intention was not to hurt you. I don't know how many times I've said in a conversation, that wasn't my intention. I didn't mean to hurt you. How many times have we done that? Many times. But it still hurt. So it was still pain for that other person. And then what about making mistakes? We all make mistakes, right? It may be unfair to the other person, but we're still having a human experience, and we're still going to make mistakes. And we still may need to forgive that. Okay, Amber? Was there another one? No? Okay. All right. So, what about the deep, deep hurt? The deep, deep pain that takes us down to our very core? What about that kind of pain? What about someone being disloyal to you? When you had this loyalty and you know they're never going to let you down. That person's loyal to me no matter what. They've committed and promised to have a relationship with me, whatever kind of relation it is, but they're not loyal. And disloyalty is when a person treats you like a stranger. That's what he talks about, disloyalty meaning. When someone that you feel love with is actually treating you like a stranger, being disloyal. And then what about betrayal? Betrayal is just taking disloyalty and turning the screw a little bit tighter. Betrayal is actually about somebody treating you like an enemy. Not just like disloyalty is, but literally not just treating you like a stranger, but they're treating you like an enemy. They're betraying you to the core. This relationship of love. And they're treating you like an enemy. That's betrayal. Brutality. What if we've been raped or molested, or, I heard everybody talking in the fellowship hall a while ago, and it was, about things that had happened to them in their past and the brutality of it. And maybe the other person had suffered that same brutality and they were just passing it down from generation to generation. But that still leaves such a deep, deep, deep pain. And then what about the invisible pain, the deep pain? What if a parent dies and you were never able to practice forgiveness with them? So you carry this deep pain in you because they're gone and I can't do anything about it. What about that kind of pain? What about the pain of somebody leaving, a father or mother leaving when you're a child? They're not present. You don't know where they're at. What about the mother who gives her child up for adoption? How is that child to ever forgive the mother? Because she's not present. So there's also that invisible presence of pain. And then what about God? What about when we have pains and hurts about what God's done in our life? Before we know that we're responsible and accountable for our life, like we know that today. But what about before? I hated God. When my baby was born stillborn, I didn't want nothing to do with God. And it took me years to forgive, not God. I didn't have to forgive God. Just to forgive something that had happened to me. But how many times do we feel that toward God? Actually angry at God. Because there's somebody to blame, right? If you can't blame anybody out here, well, let's just blame God. Yeah, okay. Amber? So what happens to this pain? It turns into hate. If we do not address our pain, it's going to turn into hate. Now you have a passive hate, which is the hate that, I don't want anything bad to happen to this person, but I'm not wanting nothing good to happen to them either. So it's kind of passive. We're not wishing anything good for that person, right? Or you have the aggressive hate, well, I want that person dead right now. Very aggressive. You want something bad to happen to that other person. Revenge. I heard the word revenge this morning. Revenge. That's a very deep, deep hate. You want something bad. That's aggressive. And then what about the hate and love relationship? You know when you hate, there is still love because there is always love no matter what, right? You cannot not be loved. So when someone that you really love intimately and you feel hate towards them, think of that tug of war going on inside of your body. Because love is always going to be present no matter what the relationship is. And you've got this hate tugging. Think about what this does to you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Wow. It's really hard in the body. Anger. Anger is not hate. Anger is not hate. Now, anger can turn into hate, of course, if it's not looked at, if it's not addressed. But anger is good. Anger is signaling to you that you have something to look at. You have something to address. Anger is that red flag that's asking you to pay attention. It's also a motivator for you to change. Anger helps us move away. We want to move out of it. So it motivates us to change. But it is not hate. It is an emotion that we want to feel. We want to have. We don't want to push it down or repress it. We want to experience the anger in a healthy manner so that it can go through us, okay? So anger is good. And then you have your denial and blame. You know, most of us, when we hate something, we don't want other people to know, right? Yeah. We don't want someone to know that I hate somebody. Because that spark of divinity that is in us is saying that this is who you are. And your ego's saying, oh, but no, this is who you are. So we don't want people to know we hate because it makes us look ugly. Very good. It makes us look ugly. And that spark within us does not want to fuel that, even though we may not know that's what we're doing, right? Right. And then we blame. When we don't want to address something, when we don't want to go within, we blame. We point the finger outside of ourselves. That's a form of denial. So, that next step is hate. Remember? So what about when we apologize all the time? Have you had people that do things and they continually do the same thing over and over, and every time, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Right. But until you work through the forgiveness process that we're going through today, you're probably going to keep repeating the same behavior. It is when you repent. And what did we say repentance was metaphysically? Repentance is just a shift in consciousness where we are in line with our spiritual nature. So if you are in line with that, you won't need to apologize because you will heal from the behavior, correct the behavior, and come together. Okay? So apology is just a temporary thing. And the thing is, we have different perceptions. Okay? Remember that. Anytime we're going through something that needs to be forgiven, you may perceive it totally different than I perceive it. So these are things we need to remember when something has happened to hurt us and create pain in us. The other person is probably not perceiving it that way. Right? Because everyone sees through a little bit different eyes. So the feelings, the confession, and the promise. These are the steps that you want to go through instead of just saying, I'm sorry. We need to change our perception. We need to change about how we feel. We need to talk and confess about what actually took place. And then we reestablish a whole new relationship. It's like a new birth again. So we can't go any further until we look at self-forgiveness, right? That's a biggie, biggie, biggie. Because I think that's probably the hardest one, I think, for most of us, is our self-forgiveness. It took me a long time to forgive myself for feeling the way I felt toward God. But the first thing in self-forgiveness is we want to become totally and completely honest with ourselves. Why am I condemning myself? Why am I feeling this way about myself? You have to get to the place where you are honest about it. How can you do any healing if you're not even being honest about the hurt that you have toward your own being? You have to become honest with yourself. And when we want to forgive ourselves, we do one thing at a time. You can't forgive a whole lifetime of things. It is a process, and each thing is very important. I come from a past of drinking, drugging, affairs, you name it. I've been there, I've done it. And I'll tell you, it's taken a lifetime for me to forgive myself because I have to do one thing at a time to make it genuine, right? So what happens when we forgive ourselves? We can actually rewrite our stories. When I look back, I was just talking to my dad about this the other day. I look back and I said, Dad, I'm not who I was. I don't even know that person. I know I did those things. I know that was part of my life, but I no longer feel connected to that person. I have rewritten my story. And I'll see people out there today that remember me, and I don't even remember them because I was probably drunk. And they'll come up and start talking to me. They don't even know who I am. Because I'm totally, my energy, everything about me is completely and totally different. I have rewritten my story. I am new. I'm reborn. I am loved. I am so different. And what happens in self-forgiveness also is that we feel at one with ourselves. I remember those times when I was in the middle of the behavior. Like, who is this person? I was not connected. It was like there was these fragments of me that were all over the place. And I didn't know. They weren't coming together. And we feel that tornness when we are holding, unforgiveness within our being. We're torn inside. An act of love. We start to become that love. Once we rewrite our story, we've forgiven ourselves. We're this new person, this new identity. Right? What happens? We start loving. We start being the love, and we start going out here and loving others, because now we love ourselves. We've forgiven ourselves, and we can move from inside here to outside here. Amber? So the next step, the third step, is energy to heal. So we want to heal, right? Now that we are aware of the pain and we've addressed and been honest with ourselves, now it's time to heal. So when we do heal, we gain new insight. We start seeing, like I said, from magic eyes. You will know you're healing when your perception starts to change. You will gain that new insight. Your feelings will change. You will feel totally different about people and yourself. So pay attention if you're wanting to know, am I really forgiving this? Your feelings will change. And you're going to change the future. Your future will not look like it did in the past. Your past is gone. You're going to change, and it's going to be a whole different future for you. So that's the healing. You will know that forgiveness has begun when you recall those who hurt you and feel the power to wish them well. So many people have said, how do I know that I've forgiven? You will know because you will wish them well. You will want the best for them no matter what. And until you feel that about whatever was needing to be forgiven, you have not forgiven. And it's the same with yourself. If you're trying to forgive yourself, it's when you get to that place that you want the best for yourself. You care and love yourself, and you take care of yourself, and you want the best for yourself. Those are your first indications that you are healing, okay? And then we come together. And what we do for the people that we can actually go to. Now there's things that situations that we're not going to be able to. The invisible person, the one that, you don't know. The one that brutality and all that, you don't know. But the ones that are present, that you want to reestablish a relationship with, it's very important that you come back together in this process, right? So the first thing is you have to be truthful to them. Your side of the story and their side of the story will not look the same. They will be different. Are you wanting to change what they see? No. You just want to be honest about how you felt about what happened to you. And you want to hear them and know how they felt. It's just that allowing and that surrendering that they talk about, where we release wanting someone to change and wanting them to feel the way we want to feel, the way we feel about it. It's never going to happen. We all know that. You want to just be truthful about it, though, because it's about expressing and releasing that, and that's how you do it. Okay? So let's be truthful when we come back together. We also want to make sure that we really are listening. So many times we talk, but we're not really listening to the other person. How can you know how bad that pain felt for them if you truly and are not completely listening to how they're feeling? So listening is of the utmost importance. Now you can talk about your future relationship with them. What does that look like? Can we come back together and kind of commit to not doing this again to each other? But also knowing that we're human beings and we might make a mistake and falter from that. But let's talk about our new relationship now, okay? So that's important that we go and we discuss that with them. And then that creates this process that you've gone through, okay? So the final and last thing that all forgiveness is love's ultimate power. The reason you are wanting to forgive is because you are love. I am love. We are all love. And we are here on this earth right now to remember that, to reestablish that, right? So love is the ultimate power that you create when you forgive. When you forgive. So I have this beautiful meditation we're going to go into now. So let's get situated in our seats. Let the chair support you. Let's ground ourselves with our feet on the floor. Let's envision our tailbone and our feet hugging Mother Earth as we ground ourselves. We're still human beings here, so we still ground ourselves to Mother Earth. Now I want you to just scan your bodies. Is there any place right now that you feel any tension? If there's any tension, breathe into that area. Sometimes I like to tighten that area and release it. But we don't want to have tension in our body when we go into meditation. We want to get into a relaxed state of being. And remember to let thoughts and feelings, just allow them to pass through us. Don't try to stop them or judge them. Allow them to go through and out from you. Now let's take those deep cleansing breaths. Let's do 3 real nice deep cleansing breaths. In through the mouth, circulate, fill your lungs, fill your abdomen, and circle back up the same way and back out. Let's do that 3 times. Enjoy your meditation.
There is a space inside my being that is known as